Hello. In this movie, we'll be doing a quick overview of the Microsoft Excel desktop application. Let's get started with the largest area on the Excel spreadsheet, and that's the spreadsheet over here, the white space with the column header and the row headers as well, or row identifiers. We can see that we have from column A to column XFD, which tells us that in Excel you have capacity to work with over 16,000 fields. And we also have row numbers from 1 to over 1 million, which also shows the capacity of the Excel spreadsheet. Each white area on the spreadsheet is called a cell. So a cell is pretty much the intersection between a particular column and a row. So for example, the first cell at the top left corner of the spreadsheet is called cell A1, and you can see that in the name box just above the column headers. And if we move to the left, or to the right rather, you will see that the name also changes in the name box, and now we're on C1. We can also move down to C2. So that's your spreadsheet area, and that's your name box. The next thing we would like to talk about is the formula bar, which is the just by the side of the name box. And on the formula bar, you can see an FX function, which if you were to click on, would show you the different functions in Excel, the different categories, and you would explore that in subsequent videos. Right, and the main formula bar is a long white space which enables you enter as much data, formulas, values, function, operators as much as possible. And you can leverage that when you need to start building your worksheet. So let's do a quick example now, and let's say we wanted to create a sales report. So we can start from the top left corner and say sales report. So to enter data in Excel, you can either go into the formula bar here and just start typing, or you just click on the cell and just start typing, and Excel understands that you're trying to enter a value, or rather a string of text. The next thing is to enter the header for the sales report. So let's say we have a date field, a description field, quantity, and I'm just pressing tab to move into the next cell. So if you press tab in a particular cell, it moves to the right, and it moves to the right. If you press enter, it goes down, and it goes down. So that's the way Excel has been configured. You can always customize this experience as well by going into the options available in Excel, and we'll also explore that subsequently. So let's just complete our sales report fields, and we have price, and the last field we'll need, it will be the revenue. So now that we have this, let's continue with the overview of Excel. So that's how you enter data, simply going into the formula bar and typing, or just going into the cell directly and typing. Either way works just fine. So the next thing we would like to talk about is the main tab, and the main tab is the area where you have the file, home, insert, page layout, and other ribbons there. So if we were to click on the home tab, this is what the view looks like in Microsoft Excel 2016 and other 2016 Office applications. And this is called the backstage area, where you can see a lot of information about your Excel application, who the author is, the version you're working with, the date it was created, and other functions here. And you can also see that if you were to wanted to save, you have the option to save from here: save as, print, share, export, close. So if you wanted to export to another application like Microsoft Access or other softwares, you can also do that from here. Then you have account information if you wanted to know about this particular Excel version and the kind of applications that it gives you access to. You can see that, and obviously the user. So currently I'm signed in as Anif Abbas with the Outlook account. If you have other accounts, you can also use that, and you can also connect to additional services. So if you use the Office 365, you get an access to the OneDrive service and other similar services that you can connect to. And obviously you would need an internet connection to do that. I'm currently working in airplane mode, so that isn't available right now. Then you have feedback for the developers and Microsoft, and obviously you also have options which we'll be exploring in the next video, the different options in Excel to customize your experience. So all that's we found under the file ribbon, and you can see all the options here again. To get back into the worksheet area, you simply click on this back button or press the escape key. The next main ribbon on the main tab is the home ribbon, and the home ribbon is pretty much where you get most of your work done in Excel. And we can just go through each of the different command groups under the ribbon, the home tab, and you can see that the first one we have there is the clipboard, which helps us do things like copy, paste, and also copy formats of particular cells, and reuse that on other areas of the worksheet. Then you have the font group, which you can use to format your different cells. So to apply a format, you need to first of all highlight the cells you want to apply the format to, and you can highlight by simply clicking and dragging to cover this required area, or simply holding down the shift key and using your arrow key. So for example, I'm using the shift plus the right arrow key to highlight the particular header. Then you can click on any of the format commands you would like to use. So I'd like to use a bold command now, so I'll click on that. Then I would also like to change the font style to say Century Gothic, and you can also increase the size by coming to any of these, but I think I like 11, just like that. And obviously it doesn't look neat here because some of the text are being overlapped. So you can resize the field, the column field, by coming to the top of the screen and moving the cursor just in between two columns, so it gives this symbol that looks like two arrows pointing at both sides. Once you have that, you can click and drag to expand. So for the description, let's say we want to make it a bit wider to accommodate enough text. And you can also select multiple fields by clicking and holding, then dragging to the right, or simply highlight with the key. Once the black arrow pointing down comes up, you can click, hold down your shift key and press the arrow key to highlight. Once that is done, you can drag or simply right click on the header, and you will see a command called column width. So this allows you to specify the specific width of the column. So let's say we want to go with 15, and that looks just fine. Then we can also format the header by making it bold and applying the Century Gothic. Then we can increase the size by clicking on this button here that says increase font size. And you see that once we increase the size, the row height increases automatically to accommodate that text. So once we've done this, I think the report looks ready to be developed. And the next group on the home tab is your alignment group. And if you wanted to do things like align to the right, left, center, right, or bottom, top, middle, you can use these commands here. And you can also merge text, wrap text, and all that. And there's several other groups within the home tab that you can use to improve your work. Basically, we'll explore this in more detail in subsequent videos. I think the last thing I would like to talk about in these different ribbons is the expansion button at the bottom right of each group. So if you were to click on this button, it opens up a format cell dialog box, because most of the commands you find on the home button are actually format commands. So once you click on the expansion button, it opens up this format cell dialog box, and then you can decide on which of the format styles you would like to apply, and choose your your relevant commands. But we won't go into more detail right now. We'll revisit this once we come up with some data for our sales report table. Yeah. The next thing I'd like to talk about is the quick access toolbar, which is at the top of the screen. And if you're using the Office 365 service, you also have the autosave command at the top left of your screen. Then that works with the cloud service OneDrive. So whenever your file is saved on the OneDrive, you don't have to hit the save button frequently. It automatically saves your information. Then you also have the traditional save button there, which you can use. You have the redo button, and you can also customize this look by coming to the right corner, and where you see this drop down point, this drop down arrow, you can click on that to customize your quick access toolbar. There are several other options you can add to that. So for example, you could add the new button, open, quick print, or spelling check. And I've also added sort ascending, sort descending, which I find very useful. And if you wanted to explore more commands, then you can click on this button at the bottom, which says more command. But we don't need to get into that in this video. We'll get into that subsequently. So now I think before we talk about the status bar, let's just build up our data a bit and apply some of the formatting tips we learned earlier. So I'm going to enter a date now, say 1st of January 2018. And in Excel, your date as serial number, and Excel pretty much understands how dates work. So once you enter a date, you can just come to the bottom of the cell and click on the flash button to drag down just to create some other dates, and you can see that populates nicely. We can also have different products. So let's say product 1, or let's make it more interesting and use real products. So we can call this an a phone, better still mobile phones. Mobile phone, we can call these bags, we can call these shoes, laptop, what else, watch. And let's say we just copy and paste this value. So to copy, you simply highlight the cells, and you can right click and select copy, or simply press Ctrl C. And to paste, you can go into the home tab and you find your paste command here, click, or you simply use Ctrl V. So we don't need this, so I'm just going to delete this. Then for quantity, to populate this very quickly, we can highlight all the cells and go to the formula bar to enter a formula. So we're going to use the equal to sign. Anytime you're entering a formula in Excel, it has to start with the equal to sign. So in Excel, there's a function called round between. So once you start typing, Excel gives you the different options that matches what you've typed, and we can see round between here. To select it, you press the tab key or simply click on it, double click on it. Then now this is asking us for two values, bottom number and a top number. So if I enter 1 and let's say 100, what Excel does is it's going to give us random numbers between 1 and 100. So to fill the same formula across the field, we can press down Control, then hit the enter key. So what that does is it copies the formula across board. So if we go to the other cells, you'll see that we still have round between 1 and 100. So that's a useful way of filling up your data space for this sort of exercise. And for the price, we can do this similar step, highlighting the different rows, then going to the formula bar, or simply just typing equal to round between. And let's say for the prices start at 1,000 and the maximum price is say 25,000. So again, we can use Control and Enter to fill all the cells. But you see that the values keep changing anytime I do anything in Excel, like enter a text or whatever. And to prevent that from happening, you can highlight all the cells, copy it, Control C, Then you can go to the Home tab, and under the clipboard, click on the drop down for the paste command. Then you see different options for pasting items, and you can select the paste value command. And what that does is a paste value. What have I done here? I made a mistake. So highlight, like we've done, copy, and paste values. Yeah, that's better. And the next thing we want to do is to fill up the revenue field. And revenue field is a function of quantity and price. So we can enter the equal to sign and say we want to multiply quantity by price. The best way to do this is to refer to the cells as against typing 79 in the formula, which will make it hard-coded and not flexible. So we won't do this. We would refer to the particular cell, which in this case, cell value of 79 is sitting in cell C3. So we'll type cell C3 times cell D3, which is price, and you can see that at the formula bar, C3 times D3, and that gives us the revenue for mobile phones. And we can simply drag down by coming to the bottom corner, and once the cursor changes to this black and narrow plus sign, then you can just double click or drag down, and that gives us the revenue for each of them. You can inspect the formula by double clicking on the value or simply pressing the F2 key. Now let's just format this a bit to make it look like a proper sales report. What you'd expect here is to have maybe 1,000 separators and maybe decimal place if you want that. And to do that very quickly, under the Home tab, there is a group for formatting numbers, which you can format with the $sign currency format, or percentage, or with the 1,000 separators, which is what we want to use, comma style. So we'd apply this, but I prefer not to have the decimal places, so you can remove that by clicking on this decrease decimal button. So I'll click on that twice to take that off, and now we have a pretty decent sales report. So speaking about the status bar, which is at the bottom of the screen here, where you have the ready text and no macros symbol, you also have the different kinds of view in Excel. So this is the normal view. There's also something called page layout view, which looks something like this with the headers and footers. Then you have the page break view, which looks like this. And obviously you can also zoom in and zoom out, but let's go back to the normal view, which is fine for now. And one of the other benefits of the status bar is if you wanted to get quick insights from your data. For example, if I highlighted this revenue field on the status bar, it tells us what the sum is, the number of data within that range. So the count is 12, and the average revenue for the different lines. So just a quick analysis: if you don't want to, for example, add a total column to your screen, you could just highlight and you get different values for that. So that's a quick overview of the Excel spreadsheet, and in the next video we would explore the main tab ribbons in more detail. Thank you.